The highlights of today's defense news, 9th of September 25. HFCL secures export orders worth 358 crore rupees. Government of India and the State of Israel signed bilateral investment agreement in New Delhi. India plans to expand military spy satellite constellation from 12 to 78 by 2031. Azad Engineering secures GTRE contract for advanced gas turbine engine production. Tokyo Electron announces new development hub in Bangalore, boosting India's semiconductor drive. India, China, and Russia forge $54 trillion economic bloc, redefining global trade amid US tariff havoc. Indian Air Force plans to equip Jaguar DARIN-III fleet with new internal radar Warner jammer rods, aims to nullify China-Pak stealth threats. Tamil Nadu plans special purpose vehicle for semiconductor design testing hub. In the global news, US Metals Company inks $500 million MOU with Pakistan on critical minerals. Tiberius Aerospace secures UK deal for game-changing 150-kilometer artillery munition. Rheinmetall to open ammunition disposal plant in Bavaria in Germany. Robotican arms rolling drone with warhead for stealth indoor strikes. A look at the news in detail. HFCL has secured export orders worth 358 crore rupees from an overseas customer for the supply of optical fiber cables through its wholly owned overseas subsidiary. The total value of the contract is $40 million and it is scheduled to be executed in April 26. HFCL is a diversified telecom infrastructure enabler with businesses spanning telecom infrastructure development, systems integration, and the manufacture and supply of high-end telecom equipment, optical fiber, and optical fiber cables. The Government of India and the State of Israel signed a bilateral investment agreement in New Delhi. The agreement is expected to boost investments, provide greater certainty and protection for investors, facilitating the growth of trade and mutual investments by ensuring a minimum standard of treatment and an independent dispute resolution mechanism through arbitration. The agreement also includes provisions to safeguard investments against expropriation, ensure transparency, and enable smooth transfers and compensation of losses. At the same time, it carefully balances investor protection with the state's regulatory rights, preserving sufficient policy space for sovereign governance. The signing of the agreement reflects both nations' shared commitment towards enhancing economic cooperation and creating a more robust and resilient investment environment. The agreement is expected to pave the way for increased bilateral investments between the two countries, which presently stands at a total of $800 million, thereby benefiting businesses and economies in both countries. India plans to expand its defense satellite constellation from the current 12 operational platforms to 78 by 2031. The vision behind this initiative is to strengthen national security and to embed space based assets at the core of joint operations across the armed forces. The expansion is being implemented under the $3.2 billion satellite based surveillance program structured as a public private partnership between ISRO and the Defense Space Agency and emerging private sector space enterprises like Pixel Space India. Under the SBS-3 framework, ISRO will be responsible for designing and deploying the first 21 next-generation satellites by leveraging its proven track record in high-capacity communication payloads, synthetic aperture radar systems, and optical imaging technologies. These satellites will form the backbone of the constellation, offering high-resolution coverage and secure, high bandwidth communications across India and its extended maritime boundaries. Once the core segment is in orbit, private companies will take the lead in building and launching the next 31 platforms, accelerating deployment timelines and introducing commercial innovation into defense space operations. Phased introduction will ensure that future satellites integrate the latest miniaturization, onboard processing, and sensor fusion technologies, preventing obsolescence and guaranteeing continuity of service. The program's deployment roadmap envisions the first satellite launch by April 26, the culmination of a full constellation by 2029, and expanded operational redundancy by 2031. Azad Engineering has secured a contract from GTRE to undertake the manufacturing and assembly of an advanced gas turbine engine, marking an important step forward in India's indigenous aero engine development ecosystem. Under this agreement, the company will be responsible for delivering fully integrated and tested engines, with the first batch scheduled for rollout by early 2026. The advanced turbo gas generator engine involved in this contract is designed around a single spool turbojet configuration optimized for compactness, efficiency, and adaptability. It incorporates a four-stage axial flow compressor capable of efficiently compressing inlet air to the required pressure ratios, followed by an annular combustion chamber that ensures thorough fuel air mixing and high intensity combustion within a confined geometry. Power extraction is accomplished via a single stage axial flow, uncooled turbine, a design choice that reduces complexity and manufacturing demands while still allowing reliable performance across different operating regimes. Exhaust gases are expelled through a fixed exit area nozzle, providing thrust with stable flow characteristics that simplify both control and maintenance. What makes this particular engine promising is its adaptability as a gas generator core capable of being scaled or modified into derivative configurations, including small turbofan, turboshaft, or auxiliary power units for UAVs, drones, cruise missiles applications, and trainer aircrafts. Its compact single spool architecture enhances reliability while enabling faster prototype development cycles, key to India's ambitions of building indigenous propulsion technologies across multiple weight classes of combat and support platforms. The uncooled turbine arrangement, while limiting peak turbine inlet temperatures compared to advanced cooled designs, provides robustness in environments where simplicity and ruggedness are paramount, particularly for expendable or medium endurance systems where cost effectiveness weighs heavily alongside performance. Tokyo Electron Limited (TEL), the world's fourth largest semiconductor equipment manufacturer, has announced the establishment of a new development hub in Bangalore, strengthening India's growing semiconductor ecosystem and underscoring Japan-India cooperation in the high-tech sector. TEL, which commands nearly 21% of the global semiconductor equipment market and dominates the coater development developer segment with an unparalleled 90% share, will leverage Bangalore's skilled technical workforce and India's expanding semiconductor policy framework to expand its innovation network. The new facility will not be a conventional production line, but rather a high value development site focusing primarily on software development, advanced equipment design, simulation technologies, and joint research collaboration with India's leading universities and academic institutions. By anchoring its India presence in R&D, TEL is positioning itself at the intersection of equipment technology and localized innovation, particularly in areas that integrate artificial intelligence, semiconductor design optimization, and next generation fabrication simulation. India, China, and Russia form a $54 trillion alliance in purchasing power parity terms, representing nearly a third of the global GDP and reshaping the geopolitical and trade landscape. This bloc leverages China's manufacturing strength, Russia's energy dominance, and India's leadership in digital services to create a multipolar trade system that reduces reliance on the US dollar. US tariffs, especially on Indian exports and Russian energy, intended to isolate and weaken them, have instead galvanized deeper cooperation between these three countries. Together, they have bypassed Western banking systems by transacting in their own national currencies, rupees, yen, and rubles, bolstering regional connectivity routes like the International North South Transport Corridor and the new Chennai Vladivostok Maritime Link. India Russia trade has surged, with discounted Russian oil supplying over a third of India's crude imports and burgeoning exports to Russia, while they explore free trade deals with the Eurasian Economic Union. India, China, and Russia are employing several key mechanisms to bypass the US dollar. Bilateral currency swap agreements. India, China, and Russia have established currency swap arrangements to settle trade in their own national currencies, allowing them to bypass the dollar and avoid sanctions. This enables direct conversion and payment without using the dollar as an intermediary currency. Use of national currencies for trade. They are conducting a majority of their bilateral trade transactions in their domestic currencies rather than the dollar. For example, China and Russia do nearly 95% of their trade settlements in yen and rubles. India and Russia actively use rupees and rubles in growing trade volumes, including energy imports to India. The alternative payment system to SWIFT. To avoid the US dominated SWIFT financial messaging system, Russia developed its own system called SPFS, and China operates the cross border interbank payment system. Efforts are underway to integrate these systems, allowing secure transactions outside SWIFT's reach and shielding against US sanctions. Rupee Vostro accounts and RBI mechanisms. India's Reserve Bank of India has set up mechanisms allowing Indian and partner country banks to open rupee Vostro accounts, special accounts to hold rupees paid by importers or exporters for settlement. This structure facilitates trade settlements purely in Indian rupees without converting to the dollar. Promoting regional currency use and financial infrastructure. These nations are encouraging use of regional currencies for bonds, investments, and trade settlements, along with initiatives to develop independent payment infrastructure, potentially including a common BRICS payment system or currency, although India currently prefers trade in existing national currencies. Together, these mechanisms provide a survival strategy under US sanctions and trade restrictions, reducing transaction costs and financial vulnerabilities by creating a multipolar trade settlement environment outside the dollar sphere. Indian Air Force is advancing a plan to acquire 56 internal radar Warner jammer pods for its fleet of Jaguar DARIN-III strike aircraft. This procurement, estimated to cost several hundred crores, is aimed at equipping the veteran fighters to counter the growing threat posed by advanced stealth aircraft and sophisticated radar systems being operated by China and Pakistan. The Sepicat Jaguar, a ground attack aircraft known for its low deep penetration strike capabilities, has been a vital asset for the Air Force for over 4 decades. As India is now the sole global operator of this aircraft, it has invested heavily in keeping the fleet modern and combat ready. The acquisition of these jammer pods, which will include ground support and maintenance equipment, represents the next critical phase in ensuring the Jaguar's operational relevance in a technologically advanced battlefield. This initiative is part of the broader Display Attack Ranging Inertial Navigation 3, that is the DARIN-III upgrade program, spearheaded by Hindustan Aeronautics. This comprehensive modernization has already equipped the Jaguars with a new open architecture mission computer, multifunctional displays, and the advanced Israeli ELTA ESA radar. These upgrades have extended the airframe's life beyond 2035, but the primary driver for the new jammer pods is the need for robust electronic countermeasures against emerging regional threats. Electronic warfare involves using the electromagnetic spectrum to disrupt an enemy's ability to use their radar and communication systems. The new RWJ pods are essential for active electronic countermeasures, where the aircraft must jam enemy radar signals to penetrate heavily defended airspace and survive attacks. Tamil Nadu has unveiled plans to create a center of excellence for semiconductor design and testing and is seeking private partners to co-invest in a joint venture that would position the state as a serious contender in India's semiconductor drive. TIDCO has floated a request for proposal to set up the center under a joint venture model structured as a special purpose vehicle. TIDCO will hold a minimum 20% equity stake and provide grant funding of up to 75 crore rupees or 40% of the project cost, with the balance to be raised by the winning bidder and partner. Equity may later be diluted to 5% to accommodate fresh investors subject to board approval. Rheinmetall has announced plans for a major ammunition disposal facility in Bavaria in Germany. The 101-acre site, a former German armed forces depot, will dismantle and destroy both World War era ordnance and outdated stockpiled ammunition from the military and partner forces in NATO. The planned facility will target unexploded ordnance from both world wars as well as newer stockpiled ammunition. It will also handle disposal of old stocks from the Bundeswehr and other NATO forces. According to German estimates, about 1.6 million tons of munitions are lying on the seabed of the North Sea and the Baltic Sea, including artillery shells, sea mines, and aircraft bombs. More than 2 million tons of bombs were dropped on Germany and occupied territories during World War II. Operations are scheduled to begin in early 2026, with the site including 32 bunkers capable of storing up to 900 tons of explosives. Israeli drone maker Roboticon introduced an upgrade of its Rooster hybrid drone system, giving it precision-guided strike capabilities for indoor and urban operations. The new variant can carry up to 300 grams of payload, enabling integration of a small warhead alongside tactical equipment. This transforms the platform from a reconnaissance tool into a loitering munition that can deliver precise strikes in confined surroundings, including buildings and tunnels. That's all the news for today. We hope you have enjoyed the news. Please do subscribe to our channel and do give us your feedback. Thank you.